See, we not get one single shot. Are you going with them?
After the body of President MUHAMMADU Buhari was received at that airport by President Ahmed Tinubu. We also heard the military band playing the songs that they normally would play for ceremonies like this, songs like God Be With You Till We Meet Again. It's quite remarkable, some of these things that happen, that are military tradition, regardless of whether the person was Christian or Muslim. What it is the military will do, they will do, because that is their tradition. And President MUHAMMADU Buhari, we know, wasn't just a civilian ruler at some point. He was also a general in the Nigerian army, and so a full military honors being given to him as not just a former leader, but also as President, Commander-in-Chief of the armed forces. We see already people dispersing. That body has now been placed in an ambulance, and any moment now it will be on its way to Daura. We see in the visuals choppers on the ground, but clearly that body will not be traveling via one of the choppers. From what we have seen, it is going to be traveling by road from the airport to Daura, which you understand is just about an hour's journey from Katsina State, the capital of Katsina. So quite a number of speculations already being laid to rest. We had wondered if the body was going to be in the cargo hold, but you did tell us, Laulu, that there is a special part in the cabin reserved for presidents, and it would appear that that was where the body of President MUHAMMADU Buhari was traveling in. Quite a bit of a challenge, bringing down that body, conveying it from the aircraft down to the bottom of the aircraft, but we found that the military found a dignified way to be able to bring that body down, draping it in the flags of the country, and also putting it on a concealment trolley as it traveled down on the tarmac, accompanied by the president. Quite a very solemn ceremony we have now witnessed.
Indeed.
Very good. Yeah.
Not so long in terms of the timing and the duration, but then you saw that all needed to be done in terms of a military farewell rites as being performed. Yeah. You're seeing live pictures live from the Katsina, the international airport, where the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari is now being conveyed to
in that ambulance.
In the ambulance to his hometown of Daura, which by road takes about an hour 15 minutes. It might not be as fast as the average timing because of the kind of situation it is right now. Mournful and very solemn, sober moments for the nation. And like I said earlier, the chief mourner of the nation today is the President Bola Tinubu, accompanied by his vice, Kashim Shettima. We do know the man who served with the President Muhammadu Buhari. Professor Yemi Oshibajo is also on the ground. Deputy Senate President Barau Jibir is also on the ground. Governor of Katsina State is leading the state delegation, including state council members, traditional rulers, and the Emir of Daura. All of them will be on hand to give the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, a befitting burial. Moments ago, we saw alighting from the aircraft which conveyed the body of the former president, the family members led by the widow, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, and also we saw with her the first lady, Oluremi Tinubu, alongside family members who are now en route to Daura, which will take, give and take, 1 hour 15, 1 hour 10 minutes, the average drive from the Katsina airport to Daura. And that's where we're going to be seeing the Islamic rite of passage, which is usually accorded to a Muslim in these kind of circumstances.
Well, Sean, I think we're doing a countdown now. Former Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces has been accorded the president at this airport. We still know that that casket has been draped by Nigerian flag, and we know that there will be one more ceremony involving the state because the body will not be buried with the Nigerian flag. That flag will be folded and given in gratitude to the Muhammadu Buhari family. So we certainly will do our best to bring you the pictures. Mr. Laulu was commenting earlier as to, you know, just the difficulty that we could see that journalists were experiencing at the airport trying to bring those visuals. But it's the work we do, isn't it? And we certainly will do our best to capture as best we can for you very important parts of the ceremony, this historic moment, the funeral and farewell to President Muhammadu Buhari, who passed on in London on the 13th of July this year. So live pictures still coming to you from the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua airport. We had been wondering if the body was going to be flying in any of the choppers to save time, knowing that the Muslim rite will have to be conducted before sundown. But clearly now we know that the body is going to be transported by road. So perhaps a lot of President Muhammadu Buhari, who loved him while he was alive, who knows, perhaps they'll be lining the roads, knowing where he'll pass just to pay their last respect and say farewell. That is, if he'll be going through the cities, because sometimes you know how airports are situated on the outskirts of cities. But we never can tell. It'll be difficult, though, you know, to be able to monitor just what happens along the road. But we'll do our best to bring you as many pictures as we can bring.
Final flights back home of President Muhammadu Buhari and final onward journey home to his hometown, his place of birth in Daura, is also has commenced. And we do know now that he might be buried right in his compound in Daura, in his home in Daura. tried to extract, especially the particular place in the home that I have an understanding of where it could be. Well, I've been told that, look, it's going to be private. It's going to be a private place in his home. And the man was very, he speaks every time about his home. Any little opportunity that he had when he was president,
he was back in Daura. You know, Sharon, the visuals that we saw earlier, one of the most striking pictures was that of the wife of the president when she was being accompanied upon her landing at the airport by Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, Nigeria's current First Lady. It was really heartrending to see her. Yeah. You know, you could see that she was still in a very mournful state, in a very mournful mood. And sometimes, you know, whilst when people die, you know, sometimes people are able to mourn their loved ones in private. It usually has to be that when this status of person die, their loved ones have to, you know, bear with courage to be able to face the Nigerian people and you know.
Community or some of the people in this community are nursing is, will they still continue to enjoy some of the benefits they've enjoyed? I've said it earlier on our various live crossing that the people of this community enjoy what we can call 24 hours in a power supply. The whole areas, the whole roads are tarred. The street lights are working. Some are on solar, some are on normal electricity, and everything, you know, seems very neat, very calm, and very beautiful to behold. So I think his influence, and you know, there are a lot of institutions. The MUHAMMADU Buhari University of Transportation is here. The Federal University Daura is also here. We have a lot of monuments or a lot of tertiary institutions that have been brought here, or there are a lot of development that has been introduced here on, you know, the influence of the former late president. So I think the people of the community will wait to see, probably after a month, probably after 2 months, probably after a year, that will this benefit that we have enjoyed, will it continue, or they go back to the status quo?
Since you're live there in Daura, can you give us an idea of how far it is from the original airport where the motorcade was originally seen leaving? Do you have any idea of how long it would take for them to arrive?
Well, like I said, the journey should not take more than 50 minutes on a normal day. But like, we are foreseeing, because of the crowd that may, you know, want to cheer him if he's coming by road, like if the remains will be brought by road, due to the crowd that will want to be on the way to cheer him, to pay their last respect to him, it might likely take longer than expected. But if the remains will be brought in here through chopper, that means probably in 20 minutes time, they should be able to arrive here with the remains. But the Emir and other people who need to be here to receive the remains of the former late president are already on ground. So with all what we have seen on ground, it indicates that all is now set for the funeral prayer.
There's been a change of plans and that the public are now going to be allowed into the vicinity. I'm just wondering if you can tell us what the security arrangement is regarding that. Have they doubled security, or is there already adequate preparation for that?
Well, like I said earlier, the initial plan was the fact that only VIPs, very important persons, would be allowed, you know, to the funeral ground, because the funeral ground was earlier the other side, not even this particular place where we are standing. It was supposed to be outside of this particular place, but I said it earlier that, you know, the place has very limited space, which can only contain probably the president and some of the dignitaries, former governors, former ministers, and top politicians who will be coming to pay their last respect. But this will mean that the people of the community have been alienated, you know, to witness the funeral prayer. And there's a change of plan to allow everybody to come here. And I want to believe the security personnel will work with the mindset that these people come here because of the love they have for Buhari, and you know, there shouldn't be any cause for alarm, there shouldn't be any cause for harm. But if you can see, they are all stationed, security personnel are all stationed in front of the people who have come here, and they are ensuring that nobody leaves, you know, or behave in a disorder manner. So the security personnel are very well stationed in every part of this helipad to ensure that, you know, nobody, you know, break the law as is expected. So the security operatives have been so, working in a mature way and ensuring that things are done the way it should be done.
And, these kinds of situations, things can get quite chaotic on ground, as we saw earlier. So it's really nice to see that there's a level of organization on the behalf of the individuals who have come there to pay their respects and the security operatives who are obviously working very hard to make sure that today goes off without a hitch and no security issues. And obviously the weather is holding up as well. Mother Nature is another factor in this whole event. It's good to see that the weather is holding up. Ayo, can you tell us, from what you've observed and from being a journalist of yourself, what would be the lasting legacy that Buhari has left for this nation and indeed the citizens of Katsina State in particular?
All right, our former president, has left a lasting legacy, not just for the people of Daura, like you've mentioned, but also for the country as a whole. And with when we were speaking this morning, a lot of people were talking about some of his social intervention program that benefited a lot of people, especially in the area of Empower, in the area of trader money and a host of other special intervention programs that he introduced to making funds available for the aged and a whole lot of such intervention that he has brought for the people. And that is Nigeria as a whole. Special intervention is one of those key things that the people or Nigerians will largely remember him for, appreciate him for. But for the people of Daura who have, like I pointed out earlier, who have really enjoyed a lot of benefits. I said it earlier that a lot of the developmental projects have been brought into this town. The Federal Polytechnic Daura is here, the MUHAMMADU Buhari University of Transportation is here, and other developmental project that has been brought to this particular location. So it's going to be something that the people will watch to see, especially for Nigerians. Yes, the government has Buhari has left power for about 2 to 3 years ago, and so it's left in the hands of President Tinubu now. But for the people of Daura, despite that he has left power for 2 years ago, they've continued to enjoy his presence. Every time he's in the community, they know that yes, there is somebody that is here, and they feel his impact. But now that he has gone, they will hope that this legacy that he has left will Nigerians or will the government able to sustain the legacy so that they can continue to enjoy the fact that they have a son who once ruled this country.
Well, Ayo, we understand, that the convoy is now en route to Daura and it is by road. So your expectation of a chopper, it will not be, it will be by road. But then in the meantime, I'm wondering if you've spotted any foreign VIP or head of state in Daura that will be attending the funeral of the late former president.
Well, for now, we've not spotted any. Probably they are in Katsina, and they will be coming together with his remains. So I learned most of them landed in Katsina. So hopefully they will join. They will join the remains by road to be here. But for now, it's just the emir, former ministers who served during his government, former governors, Rivers State Governor, former Rivers State Governor, former Ogun State Governor, former Kaduna State Governor, and others have all been here. Former Borno State Governor, emirs, House of Representatives.
Decades, and the military today definitely showed up and showed out, so to speak, as one of theirs is being laid to rest. Can you give your observations on the military that are present and what their mood seems like? We also saw a few of them bringing out their telephones, as modern technology would have it, to record the procession, as it seems they have a really close relationship with their former military commander. Could you tell us more about that?
Well, like you pointed out, the military have really been on top of the game, as it's been said. They've been on top of the game, and if our camera can just see you every corner of this particular place where we find ourselves, far, far behind. They have their armor tanks are there. They have other equipment that they have brought here to ensure that, a man who was once a former head of state who have also served in different capacity as a military, get the desired respect that he deserves. So their presence here truly shows that, they value him, truly shows that they owe him a lot of respect for what he has contributed. Down in his house, the same thing has been replicated here. And over here also, from what we have seen so far, it really proves that they are really on ground to pay their last respect to this man that have contributed a lot while serving as a military officer.
Well, okay, Ayo, I know that today is a public holiday all over the country, not just in Katsina where you are, but I'm wondering in what other ways will the Katsina state government be honoring the former late president?
Well, occasion, let alone the people of the community. So with this, a lot of people see it, and some who have not, some who might have even have probably different opinion about his government in terms of fighting corruption, in terms of fighting insurgency force. For them coming here, seeing the house that he owns and coming around again to see other people who are not even president, who are not even head of state, owning mansions that are bigger or that are more beautiful than his own. They feel like, oh, this man is truly what he said he is, and on his own part, as some of them said, that the person of Buhari in person is not corrupt. Well, probably that he is surrounded, or some of his appointees must have carried out some of those acts, but in his own person, he is not somewhere. But on the area of insurgency also, they believe that, yes, he was able to take over from the former president then, Goodluck Jonathan, at a time when some of the local governments, either in Borno or some part of the northeast, was at the helm or was in the grip of Boko Haram terrorists, and they believe that yes, his coming in was able to, reclaim some of those territories, and in Katsina also that he was able to, fight the battle and to some extent won the war for these people here.
Now, I'm sure you've spoken with a lot of elites in Katsina State regarding the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. I'm wondering what lessons you think can be learned, or what lessons do they think can be learned from Buhari's leadership style and approach to governance, particularly in terms of his transition from military rule to democratic rule?
Okay, well, like you pointed out, we spoke with some of the dignitaries. Yesterday, we were privileged to speak with the former Senate President, which is Ahmed Lawan. One of the key things that he said about the former president is a man that is devoid of materialism. And like I pointed out earlier, also, he was citing, looking at the house where he lives, that he is not somebody that is,
All right, the live pictures from Daura in Katsina State in expectation of the arrival of the body of the former President Muhammadu Buhari. Of course, we do know that this will take maybe another 40 minutes or thereabout. The ambulance carrying the corpse of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari left the airport about 3 p.m. and hopefully, maybe within the next, before the top of the hour, at about 4 p.m., we should see the commencement of the prayers. First, there will be the Islamic prayers, and then the final burial rites to commit his body finally to Mother Earth that will happen. But these are live pictures of those who are waiting, expectations as to how the procession will take place, and the flags that you're seeing flying in half staff there.
Indeed, Sean, we can also see very clearly the courtiers of traditional rulers. We understand that the
before now, okay, we see them more now again, and that suggests that it's something close to deep emotion taking over this period. Some personal prayers being offered, and lots of thoughts. You can only imagine what's going through their minds at a time like this. Someone they have lived with all their lives, called father, called uncle, called brother, now getting close to the time that they wouldn't see him anymore. Quite an emotional moment for them.
A very emotional moment indeed, it is. Prayers would any moment now be offered for the former president. We see, just like Uzonna mentioned, some people will be filing to pray and to pay their last respects, after which his body would be committed to Mother Earth. The mourners taking turns around the ambulance to pay their last respects. The former President Muhammadu Buhari retired as a Major General, and today we have seen a show of honor coming from military personnel of that rank and above, in the Army and in the associated ranks in the Navy and the Air Force, honoring his legacy. And it's good to note that while he became head of state, he did not promote himself, going on to retire as a major general. Any moment now, the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari would be interred at his former resting place. Live pictures there of Vice President Kashim Shettima and other persons who have gathered to mourn the passing of the former president. Okay. That's a former minister, Olorunimbe Mamora. It's a very solemn moment. You see mourners being consoled. We also see military personnel taking the charge to ensure that events go seamlessly.
The solemn moment, Bose, like you said. You see people trying to take turns, looking into the ambulance, people who expect our family and friends, trying to pay their last respect to one person that they have respected and honored all through their life.
So one can say that in death, just as in life, Muhammadu Buhari enjoyed the
12 million
love.
votes.
12 million votes. if it were possible,
I never saw it that way.
The 12 million would even be gathered here.
A lot of people will not get as close as 500 meters to the compound. Considering the crowd and the volume of traffic, vehicles that are here, a lot of people may never get as close as 500 meters to the compound. But as far as they are concerned, they will leave satisfied that they were part of this moment to bid farewell to a president that Nigerians will live to talk about forever. So that's what the moment signifies for plenty, a lot of the people. You can imagine where, look at the people that we see inside the premises. Most of the former governors, most of the former ministers, you can't find them because the space is limited. And then imagine all the people, all the political supporters of the president, the former AMPP supporters, the former CPC supporters, and even the APC people that are in APC because of him. You imagine where they are all gathered. So the stretch is even beyond what we can see. So that's what it means to be a popular person amongst the people.
It's quite popular. It seems a lot of persons they just want to pay their last respect, irrespective of the distance. You see some waving at the convoy, if that's how close they can get.
Indeed. And it's a state funeral. So this is a mark of honor from Nigeria as a nation. President Bola Tinubu has made it a point of duty. He made it a point of duty to personally receive the body and to lead the nation in this day of mourning. It's a 7th day of mourning that have been declared from Sunday, where the death was announced of the former president. That would run from Sunday through Saturday. And we know that all national flags are to fly at half-mast. And as a matter of fact, today has been declared a public holiday. Perhaps also that contributed to us having these many people out there who have the opportunity to step out and pay their final respects.
These pictures on the screen quite indicate that former President Muhammadu Buhari was revered, not just as a former president or an indigene of that community, but as someone who had values that he stood for and was quite consistent during his time as head of state, and also coming back as a democratically elected leader. One thing that we see that was constant through his leadership or administration was that it was quite unshaken about the things that he stood for, things like anti-corruption, ensuring that there were no things like indiscipline. And so quite a solemn moment in Daura today. It's been a while since we've seen a large crowd of mourners, gathered to bid someone farewell. A large crowd as much as this, especially a community like Daura that wasn't exactly, as prominent before this time.
Some of the things that Ayo said when he came up, the man who covered President Buhari's election in 2015, likely 2019 also, part of the things he said was, highlighted the fact that this was a man who was down to earth. He was already the presidential candidate of his party, number one. He was a retired major general in the army. He was a former head of state, military head of state. But Ayo said that when they got to his compound before that election period, they just saw just about two soldiers in the house of a major general, in the house of a former head of state. Balance it with what we have today, when a local government chairman will have up to 10 mobile policemen guarding him. A local government chairman. I don't want to talk about governors and the rest, but in his case, it was a different scenario entirely, still highlighting his humility and feeling comfortable amongst his people, because he's only someone who is worried and scared that would be covering and shielding himself from his people.
All right, Uzonna. Let's speak to Lupe Asom, a reporter who is standing by at the Daura residence. He's actually in the Daura residence of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Lupe, talk to us about what is happening there. We can't establish
in there. So if you cannot establish contact, it's understandable, because there will be lots of pushing and shoving.
All right, Uzonna, I understand we should just try to see if, we can get that connection. Now, Lupe, if you can hear me, I'm asking about what is going on there within, other residents. And there's also the possibility of network being down because of the dignitaries
that are there now.
That are there now. Okay, Lupe, it does appear you're muted. If you could unmute your device and tell us what is happening there as we await the interment of the former president. All right, it must be a very busy scene in there.
Very busy. You can just imagine it. Security operatives will have their hands full, putting everybody in check, where not to cross, where to stand, where not to stand, and all of that. That may even contribute to slight delays here and there, because until things are properly put in place, there may not be space to even move the body, to where the actual interment will take place. So it may cause a bit of delay, and we understand all of that, and we know that the quality of personnel we have will have plotted everything, and then continue to manage it as it occurs and expands. So we are still monitoring that. And if you see the live pictures we have on the screen there, some vehicles have been on one spot for minutes.
Yes.
They've been on one spot for minutes, which suggests, and we cannot see the end of that stretch of vehicles. Okay, they're just making slow movement now. We cannot see the end of that stretch of vehicles, which would only confirm that this is a jammed town. everyone appeared to be there. People are from different corners, different parts of the country, and even beyond. We know that. Okay, so over to you, Apostle, please.
All right, so let's now go to Abuja, where Ayodele Ozubako and Femi Akonde are standing by. We can see, I'm sure that you can also see the pictures from there. Of course, the body is already in Daura. Yes. Any moment now, the body will be interred. Talk to us about what you make of what is happening and what you can see. Ayo.
To talk about the man, the late Muhammadu Buhari himself, this gathering will tell you this is just the main express road that leads to his house. That this is not just this particular picture you're seeing is the overflow. But I can tell you that I've been to some governor's house, I've been to some senator's house. They can accommodate as much as, they have like a whole street to themselves, and normal buildings, adjoining buildings. They even have the luxury of having mosques, churches right inside their compound, and they can accommodate as much as 100,000, 200,000. I've been to politicians' house they have like a crusade ground, right? Baseball court and everything that can conveniently accommodate people. So this is the major express road that leads into Daura.
ganin ma me ke faruwa mutanen can ma da ba ki da rike wurin amma su shiga wancan fili waje wasu ne shiga baya ko motoci wajen waje ne ba ka maganin komai da sarakunan da suna hada su aka kulle a'a sun yi nan shiga sun ga yanayin mutane ba hanya ya cika sai da da baya
kamar an kawo babu hanya suka tsaya don duka can duka sai a yi ta huma da kama ne kawai da sai a ce na nan cikin sissan sai a yi sallah sai a yi ta huma kawai ganin sanu biya yi ba a tare da sallah ba da sallah dole shi nan
kamata su kashi da fito yi iska ba ka gane in wa'ancan sarakunan suka fita rihe gudan za su yi da sauran sai su ba mutane can ba sa tafiya ne can a tsaye suke ka gane magana ne ka gano kamara ta ka ganta amma wani mutane sun san kansu yau kuna ina ba abin da wannan zai baka ina gab da yanki yasa wallahi Allah ya wanda ba zai riga ce wallahi sana kuna yin ka shiga kuma su kan an ce wai a fita kuma sun rasa hanyar fita wallahi su kan su sun yi ba su yi organizer ya tuta muna nan mu ne ga muna mun sa harata Allah ai ba wannan bane ba wannan nan cikin da ake na cikin can ai da shigo ga wannan ku kashi aka wannan shigo wannan salamu alaikum wallahi ina can amma ina wannan gwamna abin da Security. Yana kallon TV ne? Sai ji magana shi. Ba a yi ba. Kuna take. Ke voice ne kake. Ina ga ma. Yanzu dai za a ana yin sallah mutum sai ya waje masa sahun sai a rike waya a hannu dama na sai a yan karama ce ni na toma da ita daman ajiye abuna ne na to da wata kagaci layi ne kawai zan da sau an fara ne amma ni ba fara ba laifin ka ne wuka ai ba ya gano laifin ya bi mu Allahu Akbar. An gama?
The funeral prayer led by the Chief Imam of Dora and attended by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in honor of late President MUHAMMADU Buhari. And the place was, the helipad was too full that the funeral had to be conducted outside and with the remains inside the of the there. And ambulance is now being moved out of the premises or the surrounding of the helipad to the residence of the late leader, where he'll be laid to rest within the courtyard of that private residence here in Daura. Attracted where he lived. He lived a significant portion of his life here, especially when he left the military and after leaving office as president, the 15th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Morning flags are flying at half-mast, and all ministries, departments and agencies directed to open condolence register at
hearing sounds of the ambulance, which is making its way into the house of the former President Muhammadu Buhari. The service chiefs are on parade, other senior military officers as
a prayer, and now the movement is to the family compound of the late president, and where he will be buried at his courtyard. We're seeing shots of his final resting place on your left there. That's where the remains are being awaited by members of his family, close associates, as well as dignitaries who have come to witness the exercise. Sometimes religion humbles you. After traversing the whole world, you come back and then you see the final resting place, then you know that man is just on a journey.
Yes.
Dr. Sanusi.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I think, this is deliberate. God wants us to understand that this life is transient, and that, as he has written in various holy books, there is a life after this life, and do not try to make this life your final abode by, acquiring what you don't require. If you look at the final resting place of our former beloved president, Muhammadu Buhari, you see that it's just a small square inch of dog, place, soil for him, to rest eternally. This is also a lesson for everyone, really, whether you are in office, whether you're a big man, whether you are, just a poor person. We are all going to die. Every soul shall taste death, and that will be your final resting place. Everything you've acquired, all the houses, all the vehicles, all the money that we all strive for, you're not going with anything. You're only just going to go there with your legacy, your good deeds, and all the shortcomings that you have. And at the end of the day, you account to your Creator. So there's a big lesson there for people that think. But then it's just we sit down and just sorrowfully talk about these things. But by the time the president is laid to rest, after 2-3 days, everybody will just go about their normal business again, which is also a lesson in itself that just like late President Buhari lived his life, he didn't really care about what people were saying. He had a focus, he had his principles and his legacy that he wanted to leave behind. And he knew that at the end of the day, he would be alone. So if he cared about what people said were not right, now he's alone. He's now with his Creator. He now has to account. So we shouldn't toe that part of, doing what's wrong just to please human beings. We should also always strive as individuals, as leaders, to be fair and firm, to stand on what's right, and then at the end of the day, you know that you are going to account for it.
All right, I was saying former governor of Nasarawa State there, Alhaji Tanko Almakura, all of them are moving into the compound of the former president to give him a befitting farewell as the funeral burial rites are about to commence. Earlier we saw the governor of Borno State, Professor Umar Babagana Zulum, also getting into the compound there, and we are awaiting the president as well, who will also be at the burial site as well, and close associates and members of his immediate family are there as well, including the governor of Katsina, who has been welcoming people into Katsina State and now the compound. As you can see, that's the final resting place of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Like Dr. Sanusi said earlier, from the big residence of the villa and different places around the world, for man, at the end of the day, it's not much more than just the size of your body. lead to Mother Earth. And politicians there as well will know that what remains of the dearly departed president are his works and the mark he left on the various places he worked and people he impacted upon, Dr. Kinshiju.
So that's the Holy Bible tells us, that it's good to go to a place of burial, than to go to a place of celebration, because when you are partaker in such, you understand the imputation of existence itself and the reason for life. That it's a reminder to all humans alive that one day we will depart. How we depart will also be determined by ourselves. But the truth of the matter is, no matter how we departed, there's just a small space for us, in the ground, and that it is a memory of what we have done. It is the numbers of people we have impacted. It is how the extent to which we have developed, if we are empowered, develop our environment, that people would remind us about. Because the reality, and as we are seeing, is that life itself is not about, it's not in the assets we acquire. It is actually in the number of people that fondly remember us. And perhaps this has a way. I mean, I am not a prophet. I am not so religious, but I believe that this has a way of also following whoever departs this world into the other world that I also believe in. Yeah. If you had impacted people very well, especially where you had been a beneficiary of the collective. And I'm saying, for instance, you represent the interest of people in your constituencies, in your local governments, in your country. You are the custodian of the aspirations, the needs of these millions of people, these multiple numbers of people. In what way have you been able to serve the purpose for which they have invested in you? And that perhaps makes politics, to my mind, perhaps the most strongest, the highest, the climax, the peak of all responsibility required of humans. Because at every point in time, in the gathering of people, there will be leadership that are supposed to serve the needs of the people, and that invested their trust, their confidence in you. How have you been able to return to deliver, their expectations and all that? We sit there today, Howard's, and it's not just in this studio alone, and I'm very sure studios in various parts of this country, perhaps various parts of the world, talking about this great man, because in different ways he had impacted us. And some of us can actually stick out our neck and say that in truth and indeed, we testify to the fact that this man lived like this and as this. But how many politicians that had walked the face of the heart of Nigeria can be also referenced, and give testimony to about this? So we pray that as we evolve as a country, as a nation, that we have more people that would determine, to give more of themselves to the people, especially when they find themselves in position of responsibilities. And it's not just about politics. Even in the civil service, either at the federal level, at the state level, at the local government level, it's important that essentially we have the determination to serve, and indeed to serve in deed and in truth.
Mr. Festus Fifen.
Doc has said it all. There is a quote from my pastor in those days as a growing up younger man, that I would die empty. It means that when it is time for me to go, there will be nothing that I should have done that I did not do. Looking at that grave, I took note of the firewood. Did you see the piece of wood?
Yes.
There.
That's what they used to call it.
Yes, with all the glamour with everything. I've been to that compound. I know how big the compound is. And if you look at the size of the grave, it's an inconsequential fraction of the whole of the compound. And this is a man, he died in London. He was flown here to Katsina, to Daura, even to his compound, and now he's ending somewhere there. So, as it were, to what end? I'm a journalist. I've done that for a couple of years. And I can tell you how some people, Doc made a statement that especially if you were made by the collective, that is, some that enjoyed scholarship, some that the state trained, they are the ones that will now oversee a system where it might not be like this. But we still have the normal standard of 6 feet, and it will not be too big. The best you can get is to have a tomb house over you, and the tomb house too is not also a very big building. So at the end of it, we will end somewhere. So now that we are alive, to those that are serving, to those that are reporting, to those that are holding one position or the other, you will either be remembered by the problems you created or the ones that you solve. So it is a time for us to look inward, look at ourselves, look at the positions that we have been given in the past, how we used it, look at the position that we are currently occupying, and for some of us that are also aspiring to have positions, what will you do when you eventually get there? Dr. Ruben Abati, I remember he wrote something when he left with President Jonathan. He said, the phones are no longer ringing, meaning that when you leave that position, this your larger-than-life attitude, thinking that you have everything, thinking that you are in control of everything, will no longer be there. And at the end of the day, it will just be you, what you have done, and that little grave where you will end. And for those of us that believe in the life hereafter, you also account to your Creator how you spent your time. So it's actually a time of sober reflection, not for the dead anymore, because he is done with his own. It's for those of us that are still left, and nobody's going to leave this world alive. I remember a colleague that wrote part of the tribute he wrote for President Buhari. He said, oh, you have gotten there. The rest of us are on the way. We are coming. And somebody said, why would you write something like that? He said, for each day you wake up, you sleep, you wake up, you are getting closer to your grave. And that is the truth. So whatever privileged position you have, the power that you have, make a difference while you still can make that difference. I don't like this part. As a journalist, when you interview people that have occupied offices before, you see them talking about some of their regrets, some of the things they were supposed to do. Some of them will even be encouraging the incumbent. This is what you should have done. But we normally ask them, while you were there, why didn't you do it? If you know that this is right, you should have done it while we were there. But give and take is a lesson to every one of us. And we pray that this will also serve as a lesson. The highest position in Nigeria is the position he has occupied, not once, but twice. And he was also a governor and some other positions that he had in this country. So if you can get to the position of a president of the Federal Republic, and at the end, that is where you were buried, no matter who you are in this country, no matter the money you have made in this country, one day you will also go this way, and you'll be remembered by the legacies that you leave behind. So it's actually a sober time for every one of us. And we hope that those of us that are still breathing can learn from this, not just to participate in talking about Buhari. Buhari has finished his own. It is left for us now to also use the time that we have left, so that when we also leave, people can say good things about us. It might not be in this setting where the world is saying one or two about the president, but in that your little corner, also make sure that you make your impact felt, and people also celebrate you.
Dr. Korede Martins.
Yeah, I'd like to say to my brother, not to worry, your appointment is on the way. Well, the man Muhammadu Buhari, he came, he saw, he has conquered. He has left the stage for you, I, and us, collective. The stage is there for us to continue, act the roles that we are performing. And the end, it doesn't matter number of decades to come, the end shall still come for this mortal body with time. So what will determine where you will end up will be your activities on your relationship with your fellow human beings, what you do actually. So let's make it positive, let's make it goodly, let us make it, a rewarding relationship between us and fellow human beings. And by the special grace of the Almighty, the hereafter, positivity, Al-Jannah shall be our portion.
All right, Doctor, let's just look at, politically. We've been talking of 10 million, 8 million, 10 million, 8 million that he returned in many of, even 12 million, that he returned in many of those elections. Is that movement still on, or is it just about the man?
Well, the movement, to a large extent, I'd say, is still on. We cannot say 100% that it's there, because recently you find some actors, try to shift base and form a, quote-unquote coalition. That is the actors in 2015. Some of them, very few, though. But with the governance structure of the current administration, the Buhari movement and the Renewed Hope movement, agenda movement, forms now a larger political group, a larger political force that will, pave way to improving upon the political gains and the numeracy of those that voted Muhammadu Buhari. So the movement is still on. It's larger. Positive democratic political force is on. We believe in Buhari, and we're carrying on with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR.
I may have to pose the same question to, Dr. Kinshiju. Do you still believe in that bloc, or are there splinters based on political realities?
Of course, there are splinters. We are tracking them because they
gathered around the grave to pay their last respect. Any moment from now, the body of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, will be laid to rest. This is the final stage of paying respect to the former president. Muhammadu Buhari has been described by President Bola Tinubu as a patriot, a soldier, and a statesman who served Nigeria with unwavering dedication. Live on your screen is the son of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, in a conversation with President Bola Tinubu. Muhammadu Buhari has been described as a statesman, a former statesman in Nigeria, a soldier with unwavering dedication to Nigeria. And that's the son of former President Muhammadu Buhari discussing with President Bola Tinubu. Any moment from now, we'll see the former president being committed to Mother Earth.
One of the good things today is that the temperature in Katsina is not as hot as it used to be. While the temperature in Lagos is about 28 degrees centigrade, that of Katsina today is about 32. But this is a place that could get up to 38 degrees. So the temperature is not as harsh as it used to ordinarily be. So it's a bit more friendly for a lot of people that came in from different parts of the country into the place for the funeral. And that's a bit more comfort for them to participate in this process. Some pictures we saw a while ago still suggest that the road is still blocked with several people, thousands of people and vehicles, still lining up on the road. It's something that we cannot imagine how it's going to end, because this suggests, the possibility of many people driving out of the town back to Katsina or wherever they came from is very high, and we're still waiting for that particular moment when the body of the former president will be brought in there, and then the final stage of the ritual take place before the body is lowered into the ground, sealing that journey that began on Sunday evening. To this point, we are all waiting, patiently waiting. The world's waiting, Nigerians are waiting, people of Katsina are waiting, and we are here waiting and monitoring for you.
Indeed, TVC News is live at the graveside there, bringing you live pictures of moment by moment activities as the world watches to see the committal of former President Muhammadu Buhari to Mother Earth. That should happen any moment now. In pictures there, it does appear security operatives are trying to make the place orderly, trying to determine who stays where to ensure that everything goes smoothly. And Lupe Asoma, reporter, mentioned earlier that there is already a directive that whoever behaves unruly should be sent out of that space.
Military personnel are seen marching into the arena now. That suggests that we are very close to the moment we've been waiting for. We see some military personnel. They are followed closely by, they are rolling in the body of the former president, now covered in national flag. We know already that this body will be carried by senior military officers at the rank of Major General.
It tells you without any doubt the fact that you had somebody who...
Our correspondent Lupe Asom had told us earlier that getting access into this environment was
more about elevating the economic status of millions, more than 30% of the
news will be the source for signal for most TV stations covering this burial. I'm not too sure about
this country as not only a military officer, but also as President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
Provider of the signal, and that will be a good thing for us to share with our colleagues.
Use it in tomorrow. Eh? Use it in tomorrow. We are out of that place now. The court.
Mike is there.
It is now time for the oration to be rendered by the Chief of Defense Staff and Forces of Nigeria, General C.G. Musa AFR, sir. The CDS, sir. Mr. Sir, all the excellencies here present. I, General Officers of Nigeria, have the singular privilege to give the oration our former president, our former general, who has distinguished himself in the service of our motherland. Then President Muhammadu Buhari was born on 17 December 1954 in Accra,
and hail from the Atlanta Valley area of after his primary school education, he attended provincial school for Florida and obtained his first official he started military training in the National State Collection. Anderson, United Kingdom, where he was commissioned in the rank of second lieutenant and general state. It was a result of a plan to attack and raise the military of global general. He served as 7 years as commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria from 1983 to 1985 before he retired from service on 6 October 1985. He was democratically elected as the 15th president and commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria from 2020 to 2015. I'm streaming. His demise was confirmed on 30 July 2025. Late President Muhammadu Buhari attended several courses while he performed credibly. Some of the courses include Young Officers Course, Platoon Commanders Course, Mechanical Transport Officers Course, Commander Staff Course Quality and Army War College Course. During his Young Officers Course, he worked very hard in business training. He demonstrated commendable stamina during practical exercises and in class conditions. During his Command and Staff Course in India, he was a sincere hard-working officer who was quick to learn. He demonstrated the ability to comprehend the implications of most situations and apply tactics to arrive at generally reasonable solutions. He was a friendly and cooperative individual who was impressed with his team. He accepted criticism willingly and expressed his views freely in acts. During his Army War College course, he was a well-read and articulate professional who demonstrated a vast range of knowledge and statistically related issues. He could read through behavioral issues to identify the source of effects and make appropriate improvement and transition. He displayed a thorough understanding of issues together with a remarkable ability to deal with a wide range of complex issues simultaneously. He was intellectually curious, opportunity, and profound experience views. His intimate knowledge of current political military problems made him one of the key motivators in his service. His outstanding quality of conducting research, communication skills, and knowledge were aptly brought to bear during the course. Late President Muhammadu Buhari proved his entry as a professional military officer while he served and held several command, staff, and national assignments. Some of the appointments are platoon commander in National Party Battalion, Mechanical Transport Battalion, commanding at Lagos Garrison Transport Command, Commander Transport Brigade, Transport Company. The former president also served during the Civil War as battalion adjutant and battalion commander in 2 infantry battalion. He was during the secretary of 1 infantry division. He just based on acting commander and secretary of 1 infantry division. He just based on acting division. He was also commander of the infantry brigade, assistant general headquarters 1 infantry division, Colonel General Staff headquarters 3 division, acting director of supply and transport and contingent member in the United Nations Peacekeeping Force. He was the twilight of his career in the military. He served as military secretary and minister of the second State legislature, chairing the very extra petroleum corporation and federal commissioner of petroleum and energy. Immediately after the it's not even good for the police.
This is TVC News, a live coverage of the state funeral for former President Muhammadu Buhari. Citation of the former president is being read by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, at the graveside there at his residence in Daura. Any moment now, his body will be committed to Mother Earth.
Of former President Muhammadu Buhari being read by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher. You know, former President Muhammadu Buhari served this country in various capacities, and that's why you're seeing, you know, the time it is taking for his citation to be read. He joined the military at a very young age. We hear at the age of 19 or thereabout. You know, rose through the ranks to become, you know, a senior ranking officer before he eventually worked with other officers in that coup in 1983, where they ousted the civilian administration of Alhaji Shehu Shagari. But you know, he also came back in another capacity before he again re-emerged as a Democrat, reinvented himself as a Democrat, contested election 3 times, Ayo. But you know, let's talk about, he contested election 3 times, and on these 3 occasions, he also went to court. Doesn't that speak to his belief in Nigeria's justice system?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the first one, 2003, it's climaxed at the Supreme Court, and he followed through. But by that time, we've not perfected our Electoral Act, so the thing spanned for almost 2.5 years before they could get justice. And it's on record all through that time. He wasn't attending the Council of State meeting. That's our principle. The man, you know, he wasn't attending the Council of State meeting. Once he's in court, he has his highest fix on the court, and he appears in court cases all through. That time, I remember Chief Umeozeoke, one of his lawyers, saying that, look, the man believes in the system, that it's a born-again Democrat. He was described as a born-again Democrat. So in 2007, he followed through the same thing, the same pattern, but a lot of Nigerians would say that he was not appealing to the entire country. You know, his candidacy was not appealing to the entire country, that you have to have the spread, as stated in the Constitution, that 24 out of 26.
That the president, a question that is on the lips of many.
I think that what Bishop Kuka has said seems to be, to me, a very fair appraiser. And what he said essentially is that
Right, so this is tradition. This flag is a symbol of Nigeria. It's a national flag, and now being folded in a particular manner according to tradition. And in honor of the man, Muhammadu Buhari, who had served as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, first as military president, and later as democratically elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So once the process is concluded now, that flag...
Expect the body to be committed to Mother Earth. And watching this process, of course, is the president and the vice president. We see them seated, waiting for this process to end. So the body...
Yeah, at the moment now, the flag is being handed over.
It's been handed over to a member of the family. And a salute to the same member by the military force. Okay. This is symbolic, showing respect for the former president. We see the vice president, Kashim Shettima, approaching the body, the graveside, as the national flag has been handed over. We also see the national flag being removed from the body of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. I would expect that next is committing the body to Mother Earth.
Indeed, any moment now, the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari would be interred. We see some of the dignitaries standing there around the body. It's quite a busy scene there, but our cameraman is doing his best to give us a shot as close as possible of the process. The body being lowered there.
Here prayers being made.
The Vice President